Good vibes are on the way.
I love the feel-good stories.
Oh, there'll be sarcasm mixed in, but that just adds to her charm.
So great. I love listening.
Welcome to Aaron O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency.
Hi, welcome back to Aaron O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency. I'm Aaron. It's great to have you here. I read an article about this woman and the organization that she started. A lot of times you will find a story about a therapy animal that's not like one you've seen before. Not a dog, not a horse. I've seen somebody with a therapy alligator. Of course, that's in Florida. I don't know that they exist in other parts of the world, but I know there's at least one in Florida that I have seen. This is a woman that started hen therapy, and it is an actual nonprofit now. And what's terrific is the group of people that she is focusing on, that she brings these hens to, are those that really need visitors, that are too often cast aside in our country. And as a result, her nonprofit is getting more and more well known. She's having people reach out to ask how they can start something similar in their towns. I think this one's really going to make you smile. Enjoy. So I am looking forward to this chat with Kris Munster. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am so curious about this entire nonprofit that you have. I can't wait to dive into this because I've never heard of anything like it. And when I first read it, I had to read it twice because the headline, I'm like, what? This is really different and super cool. And there's got to be a story behind it. So you started a nonprofit where hens are the therapy animal.
You got
You
it.
moved hour and a half, I think, north of Dallas. You said small town in 2022. And is that when you started having chickens?
Definitely. So I always have lived in a city. I lived in New York City for a while. I've always, that is who I was. And I saw myself as, and my husband and I moved out to the country, and it was a huge culture shift for me. We're a bit isolated out here, and I really, outside of when I was working, I didn't know what to do with my time, and that really caused some problems initially for me. I was a little depressed, and my husband was like, why don't we just get you some chickens? Like, I'll get you a coop. We'll get you a few hens. And I was like, sounds great. I had seen these silky chickens, which is what I have. The big, they're very ornate looking. They don't look like regular chickens. They're fancy chickens, as everyone says. And I really wanted some of those. So I got a few, and I was like, I'll just get 3. And I think within a week, I went back to where I got them. I got 3 more.
Sure.
I was just obsessed. I was after work. I was sitting in the coop. I put chairs and a cocktail table, and I'd go have happy hour in there, listen to music.
That's fantastic.
I now have things that are called silky happy hours where friends come over and we hang out in there. But, I think a couple weeks later I went back, I got 6 more.
You had a dozen in
Yes.
a couple weeks. Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow.
It speaks to kind of the experience I had. And within that time, my husband was already, we were getting another coop. I had outgrown my first one. So it was just very transformative for me. And I've had anxiety, depression, all those issues kind of my whole life as a child, very, very nervous child. So this, when I'm in the coop, it is medicine for me. It forces mindfulness. To this day, if I'm having a rough day, that is where I go, and, sit out there, and it's extremely calming. So that just became a huge part of my daily life.
Okay, so these absolutely must be different kinds of chickens in general, because I feel like every chicken I've ever come across is more anxious than I am.
I think they get that reputation. Yeah, running around like a chicken with your...
Yeah. Horrible, by the way. The worst saying ever.
Yes. It's dark, but there's some truth there. But so silkies they're smaller, they're more docile. They make for great companions. So I think some of it is the breed. But they're just hilarious to watch. When you spend time with them and you sit in there, they have different personalities and you just listen to their little sounds and it's very entertaining. And I thought, I know there's not a lot to do out where I live and I kind of tested it and I'd have friends from Dallas come out and made some friends locally who would come out and I could see they were having the same captivating experience and they were loving it and I want to come over and do silky happy hours and they love the chickens too. So I was like, okay, it's not just me. And that's really where I got really into chickens, if I need to say that. So I was like reading this book and I found out there was an organization in the UK that was doing kind of a similar concept to what Healing Hens now does. And I was very inspired. And I was, coming off my profound experience. And I was like, I think I want to help bring this feeling to other people, specifically seniors. And I've always felt strongly that, in our culture, we have kind of a throwaway mentality that I don't love. And it's just like you age out and you're just kind of forgotten.
I hate that too. I'm so glad you mentioned that because in so many countries, the elderly are so revered. I mean, they are treated like kings and queens. And you're right. I feel like so much of our elderly is just forgotten and it's so sad.
Absolutely agree. I think it's just, you get to a certain age and you're not helpful. You're viewed as you don't have purpose and, that's absolutely untrue and it's very hurtful, but I felt like this is a segment of the population that could use this and that's really what I set out to do and that's kind of how it all came to be.
Are they calm? Like, will a chicken sit in your lap and stuff? Because again, the ones I've met were like, get away from me. Do they let you pet them and stuff and sit in your lap?
Some of ours, it's just kind of a spectrum of where they are. They may tolerate some things for a bit, or you can sit and put them on your lap. I've had some that were like little puppies almost. Like I had one that I raised from the day she hatched, and we were very bonded. And she was very personable. So like she would sit in my lap for as long as I wanted. Then I have others that are just like they see me and they like me because they know I have food. And that's about, as close as they want to get. So it really depends on the bird. And I think it's helpful if you work with them when they're younger, but they all respond well to me and they do remember people. I think they can remember up to like 100 faces. So if they know you and they associate you with happy things, I think, over time they will get more comfortable.
That is so remarkable. What is it about this breed that is calming, as you said, that from the very beginning, you just had such a peaceful feeling with them? What do you think it is about them that makes them so different?
Really, it's so strange. Like I found a photo on my phone from like 10, 15 years ago. I think I might have been just moving back from New York at the time. I was not in a position to have chickens, but I saved a picture of a silkie. Like I came across one. I was like, what is this? I think I was kind of captivated by, they're very exotic looking and they're very fluffy and they don't look like a chicken at all. That's the feedback I get at every visit we do. But I don't know, I just was very drawn to them and, they have all these gorgeous colors and they're really sweet. They also, it's important to note, most chickens can fly. So I think that they can't fly, which, some people do get scared of, a chicken flying up or, landing on you. So they're on the ground, they're pretty calm and they're kind of fun and silly to watch. They just, do silly little things and the way they interact it's pretty cute. It forces you to be in the moment and you're watching them versus your mind just kind of running wild, which is what mine tends to do.
So I need to know what your happy hour looks like. Do your friends come over and you have like cheese and wine with the hens, or what is your happy hour consisting of?
That's a good, fair question. Now, I did draw the line at having food items in there. There was something a little unsavory about that to me, but and none of my friends seem to care. We're not super, germ worried, but the chickens can't get up on any of this stuff. So I'll make, have a lot of, you're probably going to be shocked, like vintage chicken glassware, fun little cocktail glasses, and we'll do a whole little theme. But Yeah, I'll have, a friend or two over and we sit in there for a while and just kind of watch them and hang out. And then we will go inside for food.
Oh my God, that is so fun. It's safe to say you're a vegetarian?
You would think so. I am able to compartmentalize. That is a very fair question. And at any event that we do, any fundraiser, I always am like, okay, no, no chicken.
Yeah.
I draw the line. There's some optics there. I feel like people,
Yeah.
feel weird about. But I live on a ranch and we have, longhorns, and I'm able to. I would never eat my pets and my
Sure.
animals, but I do still eat meat.
That would be tough. I used to not be able to eat sushi in front of my fish, so I get it. Like, that might be a distant cousin or something. I didn't
I
want to
love it.
upset them. So, how did it come about that instead of just bringing you and your friends some comfort, you decided to open this up to the elderly in that you actually take them to go visit? And I think you've set up actual coops for them and assisted living homes and nursing. Please tell me about that because that is fascinating.
That's really the heart of it. So once we got going and we, were able to raise some funds, like this week I did 2 different visits in different communities, brand new communities to us. And so the hen therapy visits, as I call it, are where I take a couple birds, a couple girls, load them up in my car in their little carrier. They have a stroller and a little portable coop, and we will just go set up usually in like an activity room, and we just go hang out, for a while. And we talk to residents, have conversations. They'll hold them, pet them, but it's just a fun way to connect, and you get a lot of questions about them because more often than not, everyone's just like, what are these little fluffy things? Like they don't even, well, people don't register them as chickens. So that's kind of one part. And then the other piece that we're really slowly expanding is where we actually put, like you said, a coop in hens, and they live full time at a senior living community. We had our pilot that we launched last year about this time, and we just ended the pilot a few weeks ago, but it was, a tremendous learning opportunity for us. We had 3 hens there in North Dallas, and it was such a success. It gave us an opportunity to get feedback from staff, get feedback from residents, and really kind of work out the kinks, learn. I don't know anyone, and I certainly had never put chickens in a senior living community to know what could come up
Sure.
and what to think of. So we had a year of data and a lot of learning, and the executive director there at the time was, I mean, we chatted constantly and she gave wonderful feedback, and it was just a great relationship. I could not have asked for a better start to really prove the concept, because there was a piece of me, I'm like, well, this feels like a good idea, but will people like it? And residents loved it. They very quickly became like community pets. I think at
Oh.
first everyone's like, what are these chickens in the courtyard? Um, but
You don't see that every day. I'm
no,
just
no.
saying.
But then fast forward a month and I was getting emails off the website from residents who are like, it's getting a little cold. I'm worried about the
Oh my gosh, that's
It was
adorable.
precious. So, they took to them, and I think the piece that was really cool that I didn't anticipate is the impact on staff. And when you stop and think about how hard their jobs are and what they see on a daily basis, and to bring joy to their day, like they're really, working tough jobs,
Mhm.
tough hours, and dealing with things that, most of us do not see on a day-to-day basis. And it was really cool to see the therapeutic effects kind of expanding to that realm as well.
What kind of feedback did you get as far as what the residents got out of it? Just that positive, it maybe gave them jobs to do or gave them something to look forward to go visit with the chicken or the hens, I'm sorry. Like, can you expand on that a little bit?
Definitely. The feedback, I got some great quotes, especially when we've, had some different TV interviews and media coverage. We've been fortunate this year to get a lot of data from the pilot and hear from residents, but really think a lot of them loved incorporating, we called them the girls.
Uh-huh.
And they're now back at the ranch and they're doing service work through visits, but the girls were a part of their day. Like they would build in time in the community, put benches around there, and they would just go sit and hang out. And, some of them may not be as mobile. So we had them strategically placed where it was wheelchair accessible, and sometimes the nurses would come down with them, but it was really just part of their day and their routine. And they'd also go up to rehab and help people, and hang out and cheer people up and cheer them on in some cases.
Oh my
I saw
gosh.
one of the nurses kind of had one held at one point to get, a resident who is working on stretching and mobility to kind of reach out for the chicken. So,
Oh, what
in
a
that
good
case,
idea.
it was very much part of the exercise, but really they just, I got some feedback from one resident that really resonated, and the quote I'm, paraphrasing was that she loved the hens because they forced her to be in the moment, and, they're joyous every day, and that's how we all should live.
Oh,
And I thought
wow.
that was so cool. It's a simple concept, but it really brought me back to how I felt about them and why I started this. And, not that I'm making it about me, but it was cool to see that the feeling that got this started was resonating and people were getting that feeling too. And to hear that feedback was really rewarding.
Yeah, it's not just you and your friends that are enthralled with these hens. They're
Yeah.
making a difference in a community center like that. I love it. So that was the pilot program of the actual coop, but you still visit different places with the hens and do the therapies and
Yeah.
stuff?
Yes, so that's kind of our ongoing. We have, we're always expanding our reach and adding new communities and hen visits. So that will continue to be a big part of what we do. And we just signed on as of last week a new community. So in 2 weeks, we're putting a new coop in at another community, and some new girls. We're going to call them the Golden Girls.
I
You're
love
getting
that.
information first. So they're coming in a week and a half, and then we'll get them in a little bit before Thanksgiving. So we're super excited to work with them. It's a huge community with national presence. So this was a really big win for us to get in, and we're excited to start that relationship with them. And hopefully, as we continue to, fundraise, like we would love to just continue to add more coops and more communities that are a good fit for us.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. Now,
Thank
have any
you.
of those residents been told about this or met any of the hens yet? Or is this going to be like a Tuesday surprise?
I'm not sure. I think that I'm curious actually how they are handling it. I did a preliminary visit and we did kind of a site tour, and I wheel up with the stroller and some chickens to check it out. And we kind of were seeing where they would go. And a lot of residents, of course, were like, what's going on? And, we're like, well, you might be getting some chickens. And they were like, you could tell they were excited and curious. And in my experience, with the one experience I have, there's a lot of curious questions, and then it very quickly becomes like, oh, I love this. This is wonderful. So, yeah, it's an exciting, new chapter for us.
That is exciting. And I love that you're branching out already. You started the nonprofit. Was it 2023 that you officially became a nonprofit?
That's when I have to mark it by when, we got our IRS approval to be a 501c3. And then I think it was the timeline was, me working behind the scenes on building out how this would work. We did our first fundraiser looking back in January of that next year, so 2024. And I was pretty floored and humbled that, I could put on a fundraiser in Dallas and sell out the tickets and raise money for something that was, an idea at that point, and a hard idea to explain to people. It's gotten easier because we have stories to share, we have photos, but like storytelling that was tricky, and
I
I
can
was so
understand that. That would be a little tricky.
it's like, what is this chicken charity? And we happened to do a
The chicken charity. I'm sorry, that's really funny. The chicken charity.
but it was a mahjong event, and that's been the format because that's compelling, and especially in Dallas, people love to do those tournaments that raise funds, and they're like, "What is this mahjong chicken thing I'm at?" It was just I did my best to share our story, and I was pretty floored that so many people were so excited about it and willing to donate and really got us rolling. So I think within a couple of months, I had the executive director where they ended up going reach out. She saw us on Instagram and she's like, I want to do this. And
Oh.
they were such a good fit. We went and checked out the community and they were willing to take a risk on us and be kind of our test community, and that was a really fun process. But I'll forever be grateful to them for taking that leap of faith with us. It can be a lot to sign up for.
Was the fundraiser always focusing on the fact that these are going to be therapy hens for the elderly? Or was it
Yes.
just therapy? Oh, that's cool. So people knew from the beginning that was
It
your
did,
intention
yeah.
with it.
We knew we were like, it's gonna be, we're going to do combination day visits and, we're gonna place coops. So really it was to raise money for that first setup, the coops, all the good stuff. And all the funds that we raise cover, food, supplements, everything. So when we do place them in communities, there is not a single penny that the community has to spend. We provide everything for them.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, when they're going to feed the hens, will they peck at you if you keep your hand in there too long, or how's that work out?
I have not had the ones that I have, at least. I'm not saying it won't happen. Mine have never pecked at me. I have one rooster who he drives me crazy, but he's sweet to his girls, so we have space for him. I can't. I even the nasty ones. I'm like I can't part with you. If that tells you how much I love them, but he has pecked me, but he's just rude. The rest
Well,
are
aren't they
very.
all? I mean, I feel like roosters are not the most polite animal.
No, I've had some really, really good ones. But yeah, this particular one is not my favorite, but I joke with my husband, he's gonna live to be like 12. I just know it.
Of course. What's the normal lifespan? Like 8?
8, 9, and that's honestly my take is if they lived inside. I think it's probably more like in the 3 to 5 if you're lucky,
Mhm.
range.
This might be a stupid question, but do they lay eggs?
They do,
Oh,
and that everybody asks that, so I don't think that is a stupid question at all. Silkies are not they're not gonna be a power layer, so if you're going for, like, "I really want a lot of eggs," they're probably not best, but I would say every other day, maybe every 2 days, and they're much smaller than I think they're probably, like, 60% the size of most eggs.
oh wow. What do they do at the senior living place with the hens that are laying the eggs? Do they just scramble them up or?
That is totally up to them. I think at the pilot, they would collect them and kind of have dibs on who got them. Because you're gonna get a fair amount. Like they do start to stack up. This sounds strange to some people, but it's also really good to feed them back to the hens.
You're
So
right. It does
yeah,
sound a little strange.
yeah.
Little cannibalistic, but okay.
Yes, but I do like to point out to people because they're like, it's great protein. The same reason it's great for us, it's great for them. And if it makes anyone feel a little better, there's not a rooster in their coop. So those eggs were never going to be chicks. Like there's no chance that that could be a developing chick. It's just a plain egg. But I think it's up to them how they want to handle the eggs. But I think staff usually takes them home.
Once you said rooster, I'm like, I wonder if these actually lay eggs too.
I did not candidly know like the whole chick process and eggs. I didn't know about that, and turns out most people don't. But
I don't know about it either.
so if you want to know,
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
hens will lay eggs just on their own, and usually every day in Silky's case, every other day. If there's no rooster, there's no chance that they'll be fertilized. So that egg is just an egg. But I have roosters here, so I have to be diligent to collect the eggs because there's a very good chance those boys get active and they mate with all the ladies, and there's a chance that, more often than not, that egg is fertilized. And if you leave it for, more than a couple of days and you happen to have what is called a broody hen, which is a hen that wants to hatch eggs, and they literally sit all day in a nesting box on eggs. If you have that, if everything lines up, you're going to start making some chicks. And I've had some whoopsie chicks.
I was just gonna say, now have you had any whoopsie daisies? We've got some. Okay, I
Yes.
was like, you sound like somebody that's schooled on this firsthand.
Yes, I've got his name is Tofu, and he's a little whoopsie baby that happened this summer. But it was hot, and somehow he didn't even have to be sat on for long. It was like 100 some degrees in Dallas, and he hatched by surprise. So yep,
Ah,
that does happen.
you're like, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, where'd you come from? Hold on. You
Yep.
were not here yesterday. Oh my gosh, that is really, really funny. Before I forget to ask you this, I have to know what a hen stroller looks like.
Oh yeah. I I got it on Amazon, and
Of course you did. I talked to a woman who runs a place called Funny Farm, and she has all these animals that otherwise would not be with us today.
I
And
love that.
she has a chicken that lives inside, just a regular old chicken, but the chicken is not potty trained.
Oh yeah.
So she ordered chicken diapers on Amazon. And that was the moment that a light bulb went off and I said, there's nothing they don't have.
No, they have the little diapers. I've never dabbled in the diapers. My husband has a strict, like, we can't have house chickens. They can come in if they're sick, but I have been curious about those diapers. Maybe for a visit I'll test them out. But to go back to your question about the stroller, it's actually pretty sweet. It's like a double decker. I think it's more made for dogs, but it's very breathable, and the bottom I use for storage. It's got cup holders. I never was a mom, so like this is like my chance to, I've got my stroller and my chickens, but it's great because usually when I do the visits, I'm a one lady show, and I've got, my water, I'm schlepping my bag and the coop in one hand and pushing the babies. So it's great. I love it.
You had mentioned it a couple times of like, I got to find out what this stroller's like because you have to have some sort of netting around it because otherwise, wouldn't they just want to jump out and kind of visit people?
Yeah, it's very, very breathable and open, like it's all mesh, but they're cozy in there. They love it. And we'll go, especially when we do memory care visits, we really keep them in there and just kind of go, hang out briefly with everyone. But it's wonderful because they're just relaxed and happy in there, and it's stays nice and breezy.
So when you go to the next place with the coop and set it up and everything, how long will you keep it there? And were the first people that you did this with bummed out the hens left?
So yeah, great question. My hope is that this new relationship will be many, many years and beyond. Really, it's a lot of investment for us and a lot of time investment on both sides for the staff as well. And really, we want this to be a long-term project or relationship, but hopefully a long time. And to go back to the pilot, that also would have been something I would have loved to keep going for years. The only reason we ended that is the community changed ownership and they sold, and we were sad to, have to get the hens and say goodbye to friends there, but also bittersweet, happy that they're with new ownership. There's a kind of an infusion of resources, and they're redoing the courtyard and some other enhancements. So the girls could not stay, with construction. So it was sad to end the program, but, happy for the residents to have kind of more resources at that community.
Oh, that's great. That'll be good for all of them. And you got such good feedback. So, for this next one, it's not just a pilot. This is actually going to be the first official
Yep.
place that you go that has these hens. I've got to circle back with you at some point and see how the residents have handled this news,
Yes.
especially since it doesn't sound like they know they're coming.
Yeah, it's going to be a little fun surprise, I think.
It absolutely is. Before I forget to ask this part too, What does a hen fundraiser look like?
So 2 weeks ago, I did our third annual. Technically, the first one was that January, right after we launched, and we've kept the mahjong tournament fundraiser format. That has worked really, really well for us. So we sell tables, and it's part, cocktail hour, part mahjong tournament, and we get wonderful donors and raffles, and really, you make most of your funds through the raffles. But that formula has worked really well for us. And, I'll usually do a speech and, talk about what we do. I've found that the donors that go, they're so loyal. The same people tend to go. We'll pick up some new ones every year as we can have more space and get bigger. But we've been so fortunate. Like, I loved seeing that the same people sign on and they're super excited. They're like, oh, when are you doing the next one? So it's a fun night. And, we've received a lot of great feedback. And then in the spring, I'll typically do like a garden party type. The last 2 years I've done that. Can be dicey in Texas in April. This last time we had some unpleasant weather, but everyone was a trooper, and we did this kind of out in this beautiful flower garden that's like 40 minutes outside of Dallas. So, and I'm talking with some people about some new concepts for this next year, but really for us, these fundraisers are what makes or breaks it. So we do get donations that come in throughout the year, but like that's the bulk of it. So they're really important to us.
So, if people want to find out more, donate, maybe even get some ideas from you, if they're thinking that this would be a great thing to do in their own community, how do they find you?
Definitely. So you can go to our website, healinghensftx.org. We have more information about us, ways to donate. We also have an Amazon wish list. Some people wish to just send items directly. So all the girls' needs are there. And I stay on top of that, like depending on the season. Like right now, we need to start kind of cold weather prep. So we adjust based on that. And yeah, if people, I do get, emails that come off the site where people want to do something similar in their community. So I'm happy to provide guidance and ideas of how people could do this in their own market, even if it's on an individual basis.
How many hens do you have now?
I think I have at last count 24.
That is a full time job right there.
It's a lot of work, and winter, we don't have harsh winters here. Summer is actually, when it really gets tough for me. It can get brutally hot. We've got fans running 24/7. We're doing watermelon. We're doing ice baths. There's a lot going on, and I don't love it, but winter is so much better, and I think it's just easier on the birds in general. But yes, it's a lot of work for sure.
Has your husband ever said, wow, maybe I should have just taken you to a shelter and had you get a dog instead of getting you these chickens?
I think he loves it that this has turned into, like, I don't think he ever expected. I think he was just like, okay, she's a little lonely, kind of a little bored. I'll just get her some chickens. And what it turned into, and I mean, I talk about chickens a lot with him, and I have to stop. I find I'm like, he doesn't want to hear about chickens.
He doesn't want to hear about chickens.
Like I have to, and I have to do it with others. It is a special interest, and I know it. I know this about myself, and I stop myself regularly. I'm like, don't talk about chickens tonight at this cocktail party. Don't
Oh my
just
God.
do it. But I think he loves, truthfully, to see like the passion and see what's come of it. And I never would have imagined this is what I would be doing with something like this. And all that started from a little bit of loneliness and a few chickens. So I think he's thrilled with what it's turned into in the service element for me.
Oh, that's so good. I was like, this man's gonna never get you a live thing again because you're gonna have your own animal shelter if he takes and gets you anything else.
He knows that when I really zero in on something, like I will hyperfixate, and then it's just like, this is what I'm talking about, and now I need all of the chickens. I mean, we've had well over 30 before, and he's like, I think this might be enough. Like, let's not get any more.
Let's go into some more places and give away these coops because holy cow.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any other animals aside from the roosters and the hens?
We have 2 German Shepherds, and we have 2 donkeys and a handful of longhorns. So it's not like a this is not either of our, full-time jobs, but we love animals and they're all pets. So, they even that small amount of animals takes a lot more care than people would think, but I think over time we'll continue to expand. And what I have my eyes on next that I'm working on convincing is capybaras.
Now, what
Have
is
you seen
this?
they're giant rodents. They're like
Oh God.
250-pound. They look like huge. Look them up. But I'm very obsessed with those. So I'm hoping maybe in the future, and who knows, they could do visits, at
What
play
are they called again?
capybaras.
What are they? Are they like big rats?
Yeah, but really cute. Really cute.
Really
Do look them up and report back, but
Okay.
they're very I don't know, now I follow all these capybara accounts, and I'm actually going to a capybara ranch in April for a vacation.
For a vacation. God bless you. Have you warned your husband? Because I feel like you're not going to come back
Yes.
empty-handed.
Yes. Yeah, he actually booked the trip, so, I mean, he knows.
Yeah, I'm like, here he goes getting himself into it again.
There's gonna be another nonprofit perhaps, in
Oh
the
my
future.
gosh. You're going to have a bunch of them by the time you're done. I absolutely following along with this because I feel like this is going to lead into another venture for you.
It might.
Do you have a full-time job on top of this?
I do. So I joke that this is my negative paying job because I fund a decent amount, especially in the beginning. It was all me. But
Yes, I know the feeling.
yes, yep. But yes, I own a resale business that's my full-time job. So I have the luxury of working from home and working for myself, of course. So I can pop out during the day and go down, care for some chickens. I have a little sick one in the garage right now that's going to be moved in, and so I can do all of that very easily during the day. But yes, it can be a lot, especially when you're fundraising and you're like, okay, I have a full-time job and now I'm planning this event, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, now that you have a sick little hen, hope the hen feels better soon, and the hen is inside, Amazon sells diapers.
You know what? I think after this, I'm going to do it. I've been thinking about it long enough. Let's just get a few diapers ordered.
Your husband's going to be like, "Oh gosh,
If he sees
no."
that, he's going to be concerned. I know
I'm
it.
here to tell you that there will be no hens resting in the marital bed. I promise you he's not going to cave on that.
No, he has firm boundaries, and that's fair. I respect them.
That's fair. That's fair. We'll give him that. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. I could talk to you all day, but I know you have a hen happy hour coming up,
That sounds fun. Yeah.
right? But thank you so, so much. You have an Instagram page too, because I was looking at that
Yes.
earlier and it's fantastic. Can you tell us what that is too?
That one is Healing Hens of Texas.
That's the full Healing Hens of Texas. So you spell out Texas with that one.
That's really where you'll see the fun stories of like what's going on and updates. And then also, if you go to our website that we talked about, definitely sign up for emails because that's where we share news first and, really keep everyone up to date on like what we're doing and what's coming.
Healing Hens of Texas. Kris, you're awesome. Thank you so much for
You're
taking
awesome.
time.
Thank you.
And we're circling back because I got to hear about this. You're going to have those cute rats by April 30th.
Look them up. Look them up.
I'm totally looking them up when we get done here. That is my first order of business right
I
now.
love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This has been a blast.
There you go. You learn something new every day. I had no idea that anything like this existed until I found that article. Thank you so much, Kris. And the hen therapy that you are providing to seniors and this other rat thing that I've got to read about now that you are more than likely going to start another nonprofit for at some point next year. Your husband's in for it. I'm telling you. I don't know why he booked that trip for you. That was really fun and educational. And honestly, if Kris lived here, she's somebody I would absolutely be friends with. And if I lived there, you better believe I'd be at the hen happy hour. Hen happy hours. Seriously, like there's a statement I never thought I'd say in my life. but it exists and she is making a difference. Thank you. Thank you. So if you know somebody who would be great on the feel good frequency, I'd love to know about it. AaronO'Malley'sFrequency.com. That's easiest place. I got email, etc. AaronO'Malley'sFrequency.com. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great week. Bye.